step back to the 28 Xfinity car Phil Parsons was driving. He won at Bristol.
Yep.
Were you working on that
Oh,
car?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So Phil wasn't like his brother Benny. You know, Benny's from North Wilkesboro, but a lot of people like to talk about his taxi cab driving up in
Detroit.
Yeah. Phil, what was his driving experience like when he comes to drive that 28 Busch car? Like what do you when you look at Phil? What kind of driver are you looking at?
All right. So Phil and I are great friends, still are.
Sure.
And we were back then. But he was so cocky, and I mean, he really was. He thought he was just going to come in here, going to dominate everything, and so he had all this confidence. And he had driven Baby Grand before that, and a handful of late model sportsman races before the Busch Series started, and so he was taking on this thing and then doing it right. You know, got Skull back in it and had really good cars, and like I said, had a ton of confidence. We ran good a lot of places, wrecked a lot, and
had speed, good speed.
But had speed,
yeah.
but went to Bristol. Harry Gant set that car up.
Really?
For
How?
Bristol. And he just put his setup in it in the shop. I mean, he basically did it himself.
Yeah.
Wouldn't let anybody touch it.
Is that the car? That is a sharp looking car.
Oh yeah, that was
the one he won.
The one at Bristol was actually a
White.
Grand Am. That's the Ventura that we ran. That's at Darlington. I'll tell you a little secret about that picture right there. If you look close,
right
you'll see Phil. If you can blow it up, you'll see Phil's got a little Band-Aid right there under. I don't know if it shows in the picture. Well, we'd hit the wall at Darlington in practice with that car, and they were going to make a picture, of the car to do that car. Well, he's jumping over there, and we're beating the fender out, right front fender, trying to get back out and practice, and I guess weren't hitting it hard enough for him. He said, "Give me that hammer." And he's like, "Wham!"
Missed.
And whack.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh!
Got him.
Yeah, that was funny. But
My
we
favorite
had some-
Phil Parsons memory. He's driving the 17 car in the Cup Series. And
Yeah,
it
for
has,
Hamby?
Yeah, it has Skull on it, and he broke in Bristol, and he's mad. But he gets he pulls on the backstretch pit, and he gets out of the car. He leaves the car sitting there. Somebody, I think Bobby Allison, had a problem in his with his steering wheel.
Oh, I remember something
Or
about
something.
This. Yep.
And Phil runs over to his car and is going to get the steering wheel out of it and give it to Bobby, who's over on the race.
I think he did.
Yeah, who's over on the racetrack. But he didn't disconnect the cord to the button. And he grabs that wheel and he's hauling ass
It stopped.
around his car, and he's like, and it almost turned him for a flip. It's just a really funny moment.
Oh my God,
I'll
that's
never
hilarious.
forget. It's like 1985, I think. But
But Phil's great. I won my first race as a crew chief with Phil in the Cup Series.
Yeah.
At Talladega. So we got some good memories.
About that race. What year?
That was '88.
Yeah. What about that race? How did he win that? Like to go
What do you mean, how did he
go,
win?
go back.
he had the fastest car.
that's right.
Yeah, he did.
No, I know, but what was in that car?
Okay, statute of limitations hasn't run out on that one.
No, it's
yet.
run out.
No, I
Yeah.
don't think so.
It's run out. No, because listen, I'm going to tell
Oh,
you something.
we had a few tricks back then. Back then, it was it wasn't so much if you built a car by the rule book, you
You're
wouldn't
gonna
even know
lose.
where they went.
Oh, yeah.
So the way you raced is how you raced to the enforcement, whatever the enforcement level
course.
was. You were always snuggling right up and right next to it, and that's the good crew chiefs were the ones that knew where that was. Like you couldn't, like no new guy could come in there and figure it out. You have to just keep working.
Hey, you
and
don't have
find
to
it.
explain it to us. We're all about it.
Okay.
We love this.
Yeah.
We love this.
We love
part.
it.
We had a little advantage.
We
though,
love
I'll
the
give you that.
innovation. That's what we call
We
it.
love innovation, right? We had Chad Gnaus pulling out all his tricks and everything. But
Oh, I
I
guarantee
even
he
had-
didn't pull them all out.
I even had DW in here admitting some of his because he's.
Oh, you're talking about? I heard that thing about the
you know
lid
how-
dropping out of the big shot.
You know how prideful he is. He won everything fair and square.
Oh yeah.
right. You were a genius on the pit box and set the. Where did this come from? I mean, seriously, because you are telling us that you didn't know what wedge was, and now you're winning a race with Phil Parsons. You are, let's say, applying some imagination. Where does this come from?
Well, most of it's want to, right? I wanted to do this. I wanted to be successful so bad that I was willing to do whatever it took. And I didn't, like I said, I didn't have an engineering degree. I didn't back then. None of the crew chiefs did, but I was at least smart enough to know what I didn't know, and I would always seek out people that I knew that had more, either experience or knowledge, and I was never afraid to do that. I did that through my whole career. Like I told you about John Settlemeyer and Tommy Houston. I mean, I aggravated them to no end. I mean, they just got tired of seeing me comment because I just have a list of questions a mile long, you know, about everything. And I wanted it so bad that I was willing to just use every resource that I could to get me there.
Do you tell drivers? Honestly, this could be a question for you. How much does a crew chief tell the driver what things they're doing or trying or in the car? The stuff that you don't want.
Okay, so he knows a lot of things that were happening with his car. I'll go ahead and tell you that right now. He might not admit it, but he knew about everything that was happening. You know, one reason you tell the driver
Too
that you
much.
one reason you tell him a little bit though, and you want him to know is you want him to think he's got an advantage.
That's a good point.
Because that is usually worth more. Just him thinking he's got an advantage is usually worth more than the actual advantage.
I used to race late models with Gary Hargett, and I told him, I said, whatever you're going to tell me, lie to me. So that, just like you say, I think that, man, this thing's going to fly, right?
Yep.
And if if you're going to take a little wedge out, if you're going to change the right rear spring, don't tell me that. Don't even tell me. Just don't even tell me. Let me go out there and tell you how it drives. I don't want a predetermined idea in my head what it's going to drive like, right? Because I'm already going to screw it up. But if you want to tell me you put rocket fuel in there, by all means, tell me you put some rocket fuel in this thing.
Some people reacted to that different. Like your dad, it wouldn't really matter to him much.
Really?
You know why? Because he was getting 105 to 10% out of that car every lap all the time. So you could, if you tell him that, doesn't help any, right? Yeah. He's already giving you more than you should be getting. Mm-hmm. But the other drivers would. This is a good story with Harry. So we built this car. It ended up being the car that we won the 4 in a row with in '91. We built it, and it built it super, super light. So we had a lot of ballast in the right-hand side to make the minimum weight, I think, was 1,600 pounds at the time. And so we made this little deal, exploiting some of the rules, where Harry had a little ratchet. We would take, in the right side battery box, we didn't put a battery in it. We just put some lead pieces over there. And then on the line where we're putting him in the car, you used to let the interior guy get in the car and help him, right? So they would swap this over. Harry would stick it over in the seat beside. So you'd make total weight, right? But they never really looked at the right side weight. And so we put these pieces over there and make it left side hit. Well, shoot, man, Harry, you tell him, because he's doing it. He knows he's got this advantage. He's not going to let anybody beat it. Well, by the time that 4 in a row deal comes around, this car's been run, quite a few times. And you know what happens? They get heavier as you run them. Well, by the time we did it, the thing was already 1,600 pounds on the right with no weight, so we didn't even have any ballast in the right side of this thing. And so the interior guy, Scott Robinette, says, we still need to be swapping that lead just so Harry to not lose that advantage.
Right.
The
so,
mental advantage.
So we were going like 40 pounds or 50 pounds over on the right with that thing in there and just switch it over here. It wasn't even illegal. Harry's like, I got more left side weight than you. I'm gonna beat you. And he did.
So awesome.
Yep.
That's
Wow.
perfect.
I don't even know if Harry knows that now, but he does now.
Dude, these guys are playing mind games.
Yep.
That was the advantage.
And then he had this in his mind that one certain car was better than the other one, so we just changed the stickers on the dash sometimes so he didn't know which one it was.
Yeah.
That really happened?
Yeah, oh yeah. He was always usually smart enough to figure out that this is not the car because the pedals are something. Y'all know.
You're sort of confirming what I've always suspected. Drivers are sort of mental, right?
Oh,
they're head
you just
cases.
now figuring that out?
They're head cases, right?
They are head
and you have to just to get them. Sometimes it's just to shut them up, just drive the car, and you have to trick them into like Jedi mind tricks.
Yeah.
Life is best lived in motion. And that's why Tire Pros gets you ready for all your driving adventures. Whether it's along corners and curves, across city and state lines. Because we're more than just tires. We're auto care too. Tire Pros, so you can focus on the road ahead.